Hello, everybody. Happy Tuesday. We're not too late tonight. I know we're early. See, we're early when it's 8:05. Exactly.
Early.
I hope everyone's having a good week so far. I know it just started yesterday, but happy Tuesday. If you do not know, I am Kat, the Nurse Flipper. We do this podcast every Tuesday at 8 Eastern. And I'm joined by my co-host, Rod, Picking and Punching, along with someone you see in the chat every single week. She helps me out a ton, but you don't see her on here every week. Now you do. Marsha, Red Cardinal Treasures is below me, and Caddy Corner. Brad is in the chat a lot as well. Brad is Black Sheep Society. So I'm going to make Marsha big, and then Brad, let them introduce themselves, tell you where you can find them, and then we will get to your questions. We do have 10 questions already, so make sure you get your questions in early if you want to make sure that we get to answer them live. And here is Miss Marsha.
Hey, everybody. Glad to be back again. I'm Marsha, Red Cardinal Treasures, and I mainly sell on eBay right now. You can also find me on Instagram. I'm going to just keep it short today.
Perfect. Here is Brad.
Hey, my name is Brad. On the dark reseller web, I'm known as Black Sheep Society. I've been selling on eBay for 25 years, sold on Amazon. Got introduced to live selling by my friend Tim over the years. So I sell on One Stop Shop on District. Dibbed it. I've got my own district there called Playmoville. You can check it out. And yeah, sell a little bit on Whatnot, Mercari, Posh, everything. So
perfect. All right, let's see who is first. Miss Donna is first, and she said eBay isn't saying whether or not my listings will be visible on Facebook Marketplace. I don't even know about that. Like, I don't know anything about that. Marsha, do you know about that?
I think, isn't it, to feed it to Facebook?
I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I heard about it a little bit, but I didn't really read into it because I wasn't going to use it.
Interesting.
You know anything, Brad?
well, you know, I know there's two types of promotion on eBay. There's offsite promoted, and then there's promoted onsite. If you're doing promoted onsite, obviously I don't think it's going to be going over to Facebook Marketplace. Maybe if you're doing offsite promoted, it shows up on that. I do know I did hear Chad Wolfman's Goodies say he actually saw one of his listings on Facebook Marketplace, but I don't think he's doing offsite promoted. So it's about the extent of it. I don't think you would know if they are or aren't. I don't even know if you'd know when you sell if you did or didn't. So
I think I heard though, if it feeds to Facebook Marketplace, it actually sends them to your listing on eBay.
yes,
So it would just sell on eBay like normal.
yes, I think you would. I don't think you're going to know if it's on Marketplace or not.
Yeah, I don't know enough about it to talk about it, so unfortunately, I don't have any additional information to provide with this. What about you, Kat?
Yeah, I was saying when I read the question, I don't know anything about it. I need to research a little bit. Like, and figure out how that works.
But I mean, I don't think it's any different than when you literally start talking about something and it shows up in your ad on your phone or something like that, because, you know, there are microphones built in your phone. They do pick up, they do know your search history and stuff like that. So it would make sense that an item that you're listing or item that you may have looked at or have a history on your phone and you haven't cleared your cache, and that item would show up on Facebook. Nothing different than, like, how many times have you guys Googled something and then you went on Facebook or Instagram and an ad popped up for something that you were just looking up on 15, 20 minutes earlier or earlier in the day? It happens all the time. So, I mean, I really wouldn't worry about it. I mean, I think it might just be your phone and the way you're looking things up, or your computer.
Yeah. All right. Lala says, if I make a video in TikTok and then upload it to YouTube, I get a warning sign. Is it because of the music on TikTok?
I don't use TikTok, but most likely it's probably because of the music.
Because of my advanced age, I also don't TikTok. So I would imagine it's probably what you think it is.
So I do make sure it's on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook. Every different platform has like different music that you can use. And if you take that same short and you post it on one of the other platforms, just copy it down there, you can get copyright strikes. They can take it down for different things. So just be very careful. I will tell you, TikTok is very strict. Like even if you, for example, like I had an item on eBay that was like Dick Gracie, and I got flagged because of the first name of the actual person's name. So they have a very strict AI, and they will flag a lot of things on there. So be careful.
Yeah, and I've done a little bit on TikTok, not a ton. But I would assume, yeah, it's probably the music. Like you can get copyright free music. There are a lot of different websites. I pay for Epidemic Sound for mine, and that's copyright free on any platform I want to use. So if you're doing it a lot, you might want to look at that. But if not, go to like a copyright free music site instead of using their music if you're gonna put it out on multiple platforms.
You can also make the video first and then add the music over top of it, overlay it. So then you take that same video and add it to YouTube or add it to TikTok and just overlay, or Instagram and overlay different music over top of it. That's another option. So you won't get a copyright strike because you're on there actually using the music from that website's library.
Yeah. That's a good idea too. All right. Jack New York says, how do you think AI will impact reselling business, and what do you do to prepare for it? Or do you have a plan to prepare for it?
Well, it's probably going to be good, bad, in different ways. I don't think we all really know what it's going to do. I'm still old school, and I use templates, so I can almost list a lot faster than the AI can when having to go back and check everything anyway. So I'm honestly not using any AI.
So I would say first start with your mindset. I think you probably have to have a bias towards change. Things are always going to change in reselling in any business, any area of life. So if you got a bias towards change, it'll allow you to not see it as the enemy, but see it as a tool that you can use. I think it's going to speed things up for some people. I don't think it's ever going to take the place of the reseller in the reselling business, because I feel like you are the advantage in your business. And I feel like if you use it as a tool, you see it as a tool and not the enemy, I think you're in a good position to leverage it. And like anything else, study, watch videos, listen to what other people have to say about it, and be early adopters as much as you can to try to figure things out.
I use AI all the time for my reselling business. I embrace it. I mean, people get scared of it and they don't want to adapt to it. You guys need to adapt to change, and it's going to be the best way. And you want to be an early adapter. People were fearful of computers when there was typewriters. People were fearful when the internet was out, when you can just pick up the phone or use a map. Like these things, these advances in technology make our lives easier and simpler, and you should embrace it. So I'm not worried about it. I think it's going to have some impacts on our reselling business to make life easier. AI can take some jobs away from some people out there, but just like the computer did, the computer took away jobs from people out there, but then it actually created new jobs for people to do. So I'm not worried about it at all. I use it for multiple things. I use it from YouTube. I use it for creating images. I use it for helping me quick research items. Like, I will tell you that's a fast way for you guys to research or get background stories of items or to help out your listings. Is I have a subscription to ChatGPT. I pay $20 a month, and I can literally type in an item, give me a background information, something like that. I'll get all the research and whatever I need within a second. Like that's worth its weight in gold. Or I can have it search the internet or search WorkPoint and, hey, what's the price of this item? And quick pull up prices of stuff. So I will say it is a huge benefit to me and my business, and more people should use it.
Yeah, and we use it here as well. I'm the same as Rod. I haven't started paying for ChatGPT yet. I've thought about it a couple times. We use List Perfectly's AI Express Lister, which is exactly that, and it creates the listings for us very, very fast. And it has improved our business. We've used it as a tool, like it didn't take anybody's job. I think that's the main key with AI is using it as a tool, not trying to replace stuff. Like I still have to read over the titles and the descriptions, and I can't just assume that the AI has it right. I have missed a few things that people pointed out, and I'm like, man. But yeah, make sure you use it as a tool. I think it's going to make stuff easier for us. It's definitely research is a lot easier. Creating listings is a lot easier. I found it very easy to teach my employees to use it. It was not hard at all. So it's coming whether you like it or not. So you might as well embrace it, learn to use it, help, use it to make you better, but it's not going to replace you. Like AI is not going to take your photos. And it's not going to post the listings. It can make them, but you still have to review it.
Listen, we use AI. You guys use AI in your everyday life more than what you think. Like every time you list something on eBay, eBay is scanning all your listings for AI. If you guys fill a job application, those businesses are using AI to scan through and eliminate candidates based on keywords or key things in your applications. Like it's a part of your daily life more than what you think. When you guys are searching, like Google and all these big companies are using AI in the background to help your search engine, to help everything else. So it's part of your life right now. You guys may not know it, but you guys should start embracing it and adapting in your everyday life.
I think also too, one of the things about AI is I think that's going to help eventually is I think you're going to be able to use it to help like if you sell a particular item over and over and over, it will probably help you remind you of what times a year you need to stock up on that more, when you need to ease up more, things like that. It's still in its infancy. And it's only going to get faster.
You kind of still have that now. If you look in your eBay reports, it breaks down categories and stuff. So it's almost really already there.
That's based on the individual seller, though. I mean, if you look at your own reports, but you can actually use AI to do a broader search based on sale histories and other things. So you can actually get a better deep down. So
yeah, and I mean, it learns. It learns with you.
I would tell you the crazy thing. I went to use ChatGPT. So someone in chat asked, "What's ChatGPT?" It's an AI software that you can use. If you go to ChatGPT, the website, you can actually try it out for free. So you guys don't have to pay for it.
It learns it while it's free. Like it knows what I want because I've been using it.
So we're doing a raid train on Dibit threads and Dibit cards this week, and I was using ChatGPT to create a list of all the people that are going to be on this thing, and when I went to put the whole list in it, it knew who I was, and it literally said, "Oh, picking a punch in. Looks like you're going at 5 o'clock and 9 o'clock." And I was like, just caught me off guard because, like Kat said, it does learn. Like I was like,
it knows you.
Oh, you know who picking punching is? That's weird. Like that's me. But I mean, it's just like of all the stuff because I search picking and punching, and I put stuff in there all the time. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and hopefully it advances so much it learns how to clean and pack for you and ship. So you can just go pick all the time.
But here's the big one right here. Like, thank you, dealer. Just put. We use ChatGPT.
Yeah,
to help
we've had them say that before, and I met them at a community. You met them too. It was at the Villages one. Yeah. No, that's a great way if you're hot-headed like me. Use ChatGPT to respond instead of you responding.
So anytime I write an email, I put in ChatGPT to have them rewrite it so it looks more professional, and they pick up any type of grammar errors I may have or any type of punctuation that need to be changed. Also, too, I can ask for suggestions. I use it to brainstorm. Like if I want to, I'm like, I'm you get writer's block and you're stuck and you're trying to create something. I put stuff in there. It'll give me ideas, and that helps get the juices flowing for me to actually do stuff.
Do you use it for YouTube, right?
I use it for YouTube.
I use it a lot for YouTube.
Like title ideas or
description, keywords.
And here's the crazy thing. I use it. So I do a lot of live selling on like Dibit threads, Dibit cards, and I actually use it to make thumbnails for like any type of event I do. I used to have to go in Canva, manually do it. It'd take me 15, 20 minutes to make a thumbnail to do like a whatnot show or to do whatever I do. I can literally pop it in there, and within 2 minutes, it creates me a whole thumbnail that I need, and I don't have to worry.
But is that only the paid one? Because I tried to do that and it didn't work. And I'm wondering if I don't have the paid one.
I have the paid version of it. So
I know, but do you know, is that one of the features of the paid one?
I don't know because I have
I just don't know if I was doing it. Like, do you tell it like make me a thumbnail?
Yeah, you say make me a thumbnail. You put in the ratio. Hey, I want this for like for example, like I asked it what was the ratio for Dibbit and for whatnot to do a thumbnail for live selling, and it said 11:17. So then it created me an image by there. Or then I was like, okay, use that same image and make it for Instagram. Made it 1:1 ratio, so then it would be fit the square for Instagram, and like it just resized it for you. Did all my different stuff, which is nice. I will say though, don't put a lot of text on it because it does mess up text a lot because it's still learning. But
Yeah,
it is a great tool.
we'll
It's a
use
great
it.
assistant.
We'll use it for graphics at church and stuff too.
Yep.
Come up with graphics, yeah. So
No, it's not an app, Lisa, that works with eBay. It's like a software, and you can just go to the website and type in what you want.
They do have an
can
app
use it
though.
free.
Yeah, it's just not incorporated with eBay.
All right. Miss Patty says, should you use shrink wrap over bubble wrap like they do so much on Whatnot? Doesn't that defeat the purpose of the pushing of the cushion of bubble wrap?
Sounds like a lot of extra work to me. Honestly. But yeah, I mean, because when the bubbles, that you got to have the air moving
yeah,
for the
I would
bubbles
say-
to work.
yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, you're right.
I would say probably depending on what you're selling, how confident are you when you bubble wrap something that bubble wrap's staying where it's supposed to stay? If you are, bubble wrap tight and tape good. If not, maybe you want to wrap it up a little bit and put it in some other floaty material to get it to where it's going.
Oh, I've never gotten anything from Whatnot that had shrink wrap on it. So.
Yeah, I get stuff from vendors, that I order from sometimes that are.
So I've gotten stuff with bubble wrap. I've gotten stuff with shrink wrap around it, and both have arrived safe and sound. I used to have a contract with Forever Collectibles and Funko Pops and like stuff like that, and I used to order directly. I actually have custom bobbleheads made from China to be shipped over. And when they would ship those in those boxes, they would make those boxes so tight that there's no movement. They put no bubble wrap, no shrink wrap, and stuff like that. And then what they would do is they call a drop test. They would hold the box up 6 feet, drop on the ground, and the items didn't break. Then it's safe to ship. So you guys a lot of people don't realize you don't have to use bubble wrap to ship items. Now, if you're shipping glass or something else, yes, you're going to. But depending on what the item is you just don't want any movement in the box. So I'm okay getting a box with shrink wrap over my items and stuff like that if it's something that's not possibly breakable during shipping. If it's something that is breakable, such as glassware or something that's going to be more fragile, yes, I'm going to want bubble wrap. But I don't think there's any problem with people using shrink wrap. A lot of people use shrink wrap on like DVDs and.
But she's saying over bubble wrap, so they're bubble wrapping it and then they're shrink wrapping it.
Then maybe they just don't have tape. That's what they're using and stuff like that.
I don't tape or shrink wrap bubble wrap.
So.
We just put it in. Yeah, I don't think you should. I don't think you have to. Sometimes if it's really expensive, I'll throw a piece of tape on it to make sure the bubble wrap sits where it needs to. But I would say 80% of the time we don't even use tape on our bubble wrap. We just wrap it and put it in and stuff paper around it, and it's fine. But yeah, I don't know why. What are they? Tell us what they're putting shrink wrap over bubble wrap. That's what I would like to know. All right. Emily said, which online seller, or I think she means like online marketplace, is the best place now for selling larger reselling lots?
Gosh, I know there's a couple on District that do it. Kevin has one. What is this? This is Commons?
Yep, Shop Commons.
Yeah.
Yep, Commons is good.
I mean, anywhere, really. Facebook, Marketplace, Whatnot, eBay, any of them. Depending on what it is.
Yeah, I think my personal favorite at the moment is shopcommons.net. It's just a good place because it is specifically for resellers, and it's kind of geared towards bigger lots of stuff. So that works really well. Marketplace works okay. I just don't like having to deal with people so much in person and meeting people. I'd rather ship something any day of the week.
Yeah, me too.
So I definitely agree with you. I would say locally would be good. Facebook groups and Marketplace would be one way to sell locally. Then you don't have to worry about shipping in. And if it's especially as a big lot, but also too, getting that local contact. If you're selling reselling lots, it's good to have someone local, because when you make massive pickups, you can reach right out to them and have a direct sale and just move it immediately. So that's always one that I do like local a lot. So I would actually combine that with, I do like Shop Commons. I have sold every lot I put on Shop Commons has sold. Now, granted, you have to price it because you are selling to other resellers. They're buying to flip that. So when you do sell reselling these big lots, you have to leave meat on the bone. I can't tell you, like, if I go on there, sometimes there's like 20-30% of the listings where the people are trying to sell it like they would on eBay or somewhere else. They're not trying to sell to other resellers. So that's why those items are going to sit there. But if you price it properly where people can make money, I mean, it's going to move fast. So, I mean, that's going to be pretty much anywhere you sell it. But I would say that's Shop Commons or Facebook Marketplace would be my two suggestions.
Yeah, I was going and marking my listings down. I'll put the link up. I'm lowering the price since Rod said that. I have them pretty cheap already, but I'm going to mark them down because I still have them. I would say Shop Commons is where we go if we're doing larger lots. But I mean, I agree with Marsha. I mean, you can put lots on eBay. You can put lots on Posh. Really depends on what it is. We've had good luck with Commons. We haven't sold all of them like Rod has, but we have sold quite a few lots over on Commons on District. So yeah, Leroy is in the house. Leroy sent a $2 super chat. We gotta give Leroy Kevin. We just gotta. What'd he say? Did he yell at me?
I don't know.
He hasn't said nothing yet.
He probably fainted.
All right. What is the best way to keep up with the amounts spent at yard sales?
I keep do I have it with me? Yes. I keep a little receipt book in my car, and I just put the address and the amount spent and a brief description of the items. 1 page per stop. Takes 2 minutes.
That's a good question. I'd like to ask later on about the keeping receipts from every single yard sale. I typically tend to. I don't do a ton of yard sales, but typically I get money out of the ATM for that, and that's all I spend the money on. So whatever I got out, it went towards that. That's what I write down when I get home. So, and if I don't use it that day, I let it roll over to the next time we go make a buy or do something. So yeah.
Yeah, I do both methods where I keep a notepad and I write down addresses that I go to. I don't write down every single item there. I just do pretty much like a bulk description of what I do. But also too, anytime I take money, I take it electronically out of the bank. So that way I have electronic record. Not to mention, I'm also filming at all the yard sales I go to. I don't buy if I'm not filming at this point, because then I have documentation of everything I buy, even private pics, other stuff. Or people ask me not to film, I'll film right after, like what my pickup is. So that way I have some type of documentation if people would ever ask for that. But that also helps. But I also making content. So I don't recommend everyone just filming every pickup that you get or stuff like that. But that's the best way to do it for me.
So is that something that resellers should be doing, writing down addresses?
They do.
Necessarily, but I've heard that the tax people say if you get audited, it's just another way to prove that, and because you can look up what sales and stuff. It's just, I mean, not that they can prove it 100%, but it just kind of shows that you didn't just write something down.
So when I do a big buy, like I did a 5-figure buy off someone recently, I actually put a contract in place for them to sign. One is to make sure that items, which I knew the items weren't stolen, but it says in the contract that they're saying, hey, these items aren't stolen, or I do have these are my items, like they're not a family members that they're selling. So one, to help that protects myself. Number two, I also put in the contract to say that the items are authentic. So like for example, if I buy high-end collectibles such as like sports cars or something like that, and I want to get graded and it comes back that it's a fake, I still have something in place to cover my butt. But also too, then in the contract I write down what the item is and have their name and their address. So that's just something I do personally. I just started doing that actually this month because I haven't made a big buy like that one before. So that's why I did that.
Yeah, we mostly do Facebook Marketplace. So I kind of have like some receipts for that kind of thing. And it's done a lot of times done through Venmo or something like that.
Honestly, the best thing for you guys to do, and just so you guys know, we are not accountants on here, so don't take any of this as accountant advice or anything like that. But if you are running a business, you should have an accountant or someone to talk to. And this is a question that's better suited for your accountant, what they recommended for you and your business. Because some of us are incorporated, some here aren't incorporated, some are C Corp, some are LLCs. Everyone on this panel might have a different setup for their business, what's best for them. But like, for example, like me and Kat both have accountants. So we talk to our accountants what's best for our business and how we're going to do things. And we also buy differently as well.
Yeah. So for me, I just take the money out of the bank and tell them I'm using it for sourcing. And I'm great at spending every last dollar that's in my friggin' wallet. So that's all I do. But I also, like, a lot of times if I'm going out, I'm like, Rod, I'm recording. So really I have video proof of exactly what I'm buying as well. But I mainly just do, like, if I take out 300, I'm going to spend 300. And if I don't spend it at yard sales this weekend, I will eventually spend it, so.
For me, I have a rewards credit card for my business, so I do not want to spend cash anywhere I go because I want to get those bonus points so I get free Hilton hotels, and then I can use those for sourcing, vacation trips, everything else. So I'm like Kat, like if I don't spend the money, I'm going to put it in my pocket. I'm just going to use it another weekend. So it's all going to sourcing one way or another.
What do you do at flea markets, Rod?
Same process. Say I went to Webster Flea Market and I just do a gross a day. I bought XYZ and then spent $800 and then just make it bought cards, bought this, you know what I mean? It's just the location. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have every single vendor's name or anything like that. Like,
they don't want you to.
Yeah.
They don't want you to have their name.
That's true. But you just have to have some type of documentation. And honestly, it's not that big of a deal unless you're going to get audited or they go down that rabbit hole. I would just say talk to your accountant because your accountant's going to say, hey, because here's the thing. If you have an accountant, if you get audited, that's your accountant's problem to fix. So talk to your accountant what they want the best suited for them and to get your butt out of trouble if that does happen.
Yeah. And LJ's saying, what if you go to a yard sale but do not buy anything? Do you put it down? No. There's no point. Like, you're wasting your time. All right. Richard, where'd you go? Sorry. Richard sent. Oh, hold on. Let me grab this and then we'll grab. Did you star that one? Or did
I started. I went to start it. I clicked it by accident, but I went to start it.
Oh, all right. Richard sent a $5 super chat and said, hello, everyone. The Kevin mermaid was just a little creepy. That's one word. That's one word to use. Hope me and Rod are doing great. We are both, I think, kind of on track here. Trying to be. What am I? Oh, I'm going to do my octopus. I'm going to do my octopus. Here you go.
Some say creepy, some say sexy. Actually, no one ever says that. So
some say it blinds them.
Yeah, I can't believe you didn't get Kevin again. He just asked. He asked for it without asking for it. Let's be honest. I'm just. I don't know.
All right, let's see. Oh, so Bridget wanted to know too. What tips would you give while going to yard sales?
One thing I like to do, because some people want to find out kind of, especially if things aren't priced, how the seller is going to give you pricing. So what I like to do is when I'm kind of just browsing to see what they have, I listen to what they're telling other people. And I listen to their conversations. Because that kind of gets in my head, okay, they're going to be a little overpriced on things, or no, they're going to just be blowing this stuff out for cheap. And then that helps me kind of decide if I'm going to buy a lot, buy a little, what I'm going to try to focus on and go from there.
Yeah, so that's good advice, Marsha. I would think get up early, obviously. The sooner you get out and get in front of everybody else, the better. I would say if you have something that you kind of specialize in, kind of play to your strengths. Try to look at those things first. If you're also an everything seller, then take your time. And unless you are very specific in what you sell, take your time. Look things up that you don't know. And yeah. And then if you can, like everything else, I like to make bigger deals. I feel like you get better prices if you buy more than one thing. If you can pull that off at a yard sale, works well too.
So this is actually what I spoke about in at the Boss Reseller Mix. So a couple big tips I can give a lot of people here is, one is plan the night before. Look at where you're going to go. Use if you're using yard sale app, using the garage sale app, you're using Craigslist, using Facebook Marketplace, have a plan the night before. Do not wake up in the morning and decide where you're going to go. Know where you're going to go the night before. If you're going to look for community sales, if you can find a point to go, and then you just hit up random stuff along the way, but have a point to start at. Also, to change your mileage on what you search. Most people, it's going to be automatically set anywhere from 10 to 20 to 30 miles away. I have my search for me is set to 100 miles. And I know that sounds crazy, but the reason I say this is, everyone in this panel, if I said, hey, you can make an extra $1,000 if you drive an extra 20 miles, would you do it? Absolutely, right? That's a 40-mile round trip, less than an hour. Absolutely, I'll drive for and make an extra $1,000. So then why you limit yourself to searching 10, 20, 30 miles? That's a big problem I see a lot of people do. I also go yard sale when it rains. I know a lot of people say, I'm not going to because it's raining. I just cut out. I guarantee if I asked people in the chat how many people go yard sale when it rains, half the people are like, no, I'm not going to go. Right there, I just limited half my competition. Now, granted, I may not have a good day, but I can't tell you how many yard sales I have where people sit in the garage when it's raining, and I'm the only one there. And I literally clean up at yard sales like that. If their items aren't priced, I literally will pick up a couple random items throughout the process and ask people what. I ask them, individual pricing, what they would do. And then I always ask people if I make a pile, would you make a bundle deal? I ask that before I get started, because the worst thing to do is sit at a yard sale for 20, 30 minutes finding all this awesome stuff and then realize you just wasted your time. So, and also every yard sale I go to, I don't care if you're 10 years old or if you're 90, I'm going to ask that people at that yard sale what I'm looking for. And I can't tell you some of my best pickups. Like, I went to a yard sale and I asked a lady who was in her late 50s, hey, do you have any comic books? She goes, oh, actually, my uncle just passed away a couple months ago. And I inherited all these books. I was going to put them at the yard sale. I didn't think anyone wanted them. Do you know how many times I hear that? Oh, I was going to put it out for a yard sale, but I didn't think anyone was looking for that stuff today. And that's how you can get a lot of private picks out of it. That's how you can get a lot of private deals. And that's how you can bundle. And that's how you can level up your business.
Rod, they wanted you to repeat the places to look for yard sales.
Sure. So this is going to depend on where you live. A lot of places I'm about to say may not work. A lot of these apps and things I'm going to use may not work. So number one is going to be Craigslist. These are no particular order. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace are good ones I use. The Yard Sale Treasure app is an app you can download it to your phone. G-Sailor, it's the garage sale app. That's another one you can actually use. I use those in conjunction with each other when I go sourcing. I also use local newspapers, believe it or not, depending on, like, especially if you're in the country where they still use the local newspaper or they use that free newspaper. Google your state and Google town-wide sale. You won't believe how many sales that you find that are going to be citywide or town-wide in your state that you had no idea about. And those may be an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours away from your house. It may be worth making a drive because the entire town is doing a yard sale. We're talking like not just 5-10 houses. We're talking like 50, 60 houses throughout this small town of 20,000 people or something that are doing garage sales. I find those all the time. So I do travel. I've traveled all of the East Coast. I've traveled in the Midwest. I've traveled out West. And I've used all these techniques at all the different places I go looking for sales to source.
Yeah, for me, it's just bundling. If you can't, I like buying all of one thing, because if there's a handful of ones that are expensive, rather than spending the time looking it up, if I can buy it all and get a good deal on it, I'm going to do that. I don't do a ton of yard sales. I prefer thrifting and online estate sales, but when I do, I like to bundle. And I agree with Marsha too. I listen, like, especially if stuff's not priced. I want to know if they're negotiating. I want to know how their prices are. And I don't have to ask them to do that. I just have to hear them talking to someone else. And sometimes one person is going to be cheaper than another. I have found that, and I've known who I'm going to get my price for my stuff, whether it's the guy or the girl, because sometimes one of them is way cheaper than the other one. So I would pay attention to that as well.
Kat, you reminded me, there's also an estate sale app that you guys can use, a website to go to.
Estatesales.net.
Yep. Yeah, that's another one that people can use. I'm trying to think what else. There's one other. And also, dude, I'll tell you one of the biggest tips. Tell people that you resell. I can't tell you, when I go to a garage sale, people are having sales to get rid of stuff. When I tell people I'm a reseller, 99% of the time it works to my benefit. Maybe 1 or 2% it doesn't, but I will take those odds all day long. I can't tell you when I tell people I'm a reseller, like, oh, you resell? Hey, I have some other stuff you may be interested in. Hey, I just didn't bring it out. Oh, I didn't have time to put it out yet. How many people plan to have a yard sale, wait till last minute, and don't get all their stuff out of the house? It happens. It happens to me. It happened to everyone. You know, everyone that goes to do something like that or goes to set up a flea market, like, oh, I was going to bring it to you, but I forgot to bring it. You know, that happens all the time. So tell people what you do. I
people's hats off the wall of their garage.
Yep. Yeah. Don't be afraid to ask. I would say when I go to a yard sale, I am a detective. I am scanning that yard sale. What I'm looking for are clues around the way. If I see music equipment, I'm going to ask for band tees. I'm going to ask for concert tickets, other stuff like that. If I see children there, I'm going to ask for video games, comic books, sports cards. Maybe if I see people wearing sports and stuff, I'm going to ask them for sports collectibles. If I see people that are, they have music playing and there's stuff like classic rock, I'm going to ask them for vinyl records. Like, you have to be a detective when you go to these yard sales and pick up clues along the way, because they give you breadcrumbs. When I go to people's yard sales, I scan their entire garage, or the garage is open, and I see NASCAR stuff. I see Harley stuff. I'm going to ask for Harley shirts, NASCAR shirts. I'm going to ask for these different things. If I see glassware, I'm going to ask for certain glassware. What else they have. So use these clues to help you get what you want or what you're looking for.
Yeah. I thought of one other thing too. One of my first jobs I ever had was working in interior decorating. So we would go to people's houses. The very first time I went on a job, the guy that I worked with said, our very first job today is to make friends with this customer. So I feel like just being cordial and nice to people, and not just, in for the kill, so to speak. But if you can just chat people up just a little bit, sometimes it greases the wheels quite a bit.
Absolutely, man. No one ever buys people. Yep. I've never bought or sold something or bought something from people that I don't like. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It's
a big jerks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cat blocks them.
Yeah. How many times have you been nice to someone and they give you a discount without you even asking, because you're just being a nice human being, talking to someone and having a nice conversation, and you're connecting with them on something. Find ways to connect with people, not because you want a discount, because you're a human, and that's what you should do. You know what I mean? Be a good person.
Yeah, for sure. LJ wants us to go meet. LJ will be, though, in Vegas the 11th. You should tell them where you're selling. You can tell everybody where you're selling in Vegas on the 11th. I wish. I love Las Vegas. I would if I could. Believe me. All right. Brad, I know I saw you answer in the chat, but do you want to go ahead and tell everybody what you sell?
Yeah, so we specialize in Playmobil. I think my wife Tanya told me that 65% of our sales are Playmobil. So that's kind of our big thing, but we're really everything sellers. Kind of niching down like that allows us to really treasure hunt for all the other stuff we get. So, but bread and butter is Playmobil.
Perfect. Kathy wants to know, when you pick up watches to resell, do you test them? I'd like to not put in new batteries.
I don't sell watches.
Yeah, I stay away from watches most of the time too, unless they look really interesting. So I don't really have anything to share.
I have a massive collection of watches that I picked up super cheap at yard sales, garage sales for the last year or two. I went on Amazon and I bought a kit so I can actually change out and swap out batteries, so I could sell all these in a big batch one day. and I haven't even opened the box of the kit. All right. So I should take my own advice that I should buy
not
profits.
projects, profits.
Yes. I want profits, not projects. And, but I thought it'd be simple enough to do and I can quick do it, but I have probably 70 to 100 watches sitting here from Disney to Movado to a bunch of stuff. Like I just haven't done anything with it.
You need to do a live sale with it on Didbit or something.
Yeah, I have a lot of stuff I should do live sales with.
Well,
so eventually I'll get there one day.
Yeah. So for me, I occasionally pick them up on purpose to sell, but most of the time I get them in jewelry lots unintentionally. My jewelry lot just comes with a watch or two. So my rule of thumb for this is if they comp out at $50 or higher, I'm replacing the battery. And I tried for a while for us to replace the batteries, and that didn't go well because I can't see that. Like I even got the magnifying glass and everything. So my local jeweler, if I bring them 10 or more watches, will replace the battery for $10. Then that includes the battery and changing it. So I'll just hold the watches until I get 10. Shannon, though, when she's here working, Shannon can change the batteries. So we bought a bunch of Invicta watches and we did put new batteries in all of those, but those are all over $50 watches. Now I picked up a Baskin Robbins watch for $1. That sold for over 100. I did not put a battery in that one. I'm like, whatever. It's rare. I'm just going to list it. And the buyer actually asked me to put the battery in and said, hey, I will give you $100 for this, but I need to know that it's working. And we did. I tried. Beware though, not almost all of them, like, especially if you get into vintage watches, like we had to have like 5 or 6 different sizes the last batch we did. Your little generic regular watches will. So me, if it's over $50, I'll pay the jeweler $10 to change the battery. I don't do it myself anymore because I can't. If Shannon happens to be here, she will switch them out for us. But yeah, if it's worth it, I'll do it.
But you know why Kat can pay $10 to a jeweler to change out that watch? What do we normally say here, Kat? Because you make your money in the buy, not the sell. So she has enough margins. Right, because
I paid $1 for the watch.
Correct. You have enough margins to do that. So if you're paying $20, $30 at a garage sale for a watch that sells for $50 or $60, you can't do that. So that's why it's so important that you can cut out steps like that and you can have someone else do the work for you if you buy it right.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Hillbilly Hustles wants to know, are any of us using the delist relist new feature on List Perfectly for Posh and Mercari? If yes, how often and any tips?
I'm not on Posh or Mercari either.
Yeah. I have switched to Vendu for this year, so I use their delist and relist. So I can't really answer questions about the new List Perfectly one at the moment.
I also switched to Vendu as well, so Kat will have to take this one.
Yeah, I'm not using it yet. I haven't tried it. I know somebody when Trish and I did the podcast the other day that said they were using it, they loved it, and it was really helping them. I am going to do a new tutorial video on LP with these new features because, like, there's a new AI Express lister, there's sharing for Poshmark, there's the delist relist. And there's just a ton of new features that aren't in any of my other tutorial videos. And Trish will actually be coming and staying a week with me here in just a week or two. So she'll be able to show me everything. And she'll probably be here, like, sitting beside me when she's here during the Tuesday podcast. So I don't have any tips for it, but I hope to have some soon because I'll have Trish and I can, like, bother her and make her teach me everything so I can make you guys a new video on it. All right. Patty said she heard they're closing eBay down for 30 days for a restructure. Has anybody heard this? Panel and chat.
I haven't heard anything.
It's April 1st, so This is the first I'm hearing about it.
There you go.
eBay's been around for 30 plus years. They're not closing down for 30 days. They would lose They have 130 million users. They're going to lose so much money. So it's a good April Fool's joke.
Good one.
Yes. Yeah, I think so as well. Oh, yeah. The remove issues. Yes, there's a lot. She said April Fools.
Yep.
See, I told you somebody would get us. Trash Cat Rescue wants to know what's your dream car, no limitations.
McLaren.
I'd have to pick a Lamborghini, one of the Diablos or Chimichangas or whatever they are.
I always wanted the Audi A8 after the Iron Man movie, so I'll throw that in there.
I like my car. Like, I'm not a big car person. I really love, like, I would get a new one of my car. I have a Chrysler 300 and I love it. And I don't need, like, I don't have the need for speed. I'm past that point. I have the need for comfort. So maybe if I could find like a nice like Mercedes or Lexus that was really then I haven't looked at them because they're not my budget. So like, why would I even look at it?
Give us the fun answer, Kat. Come on.
I don't have a fun answer.
Oh, come on.
Like, I like my car.
Okay.
Scott would like a 57 Plymouth Fury. So I would get that and give it to Scott. I have a heated steering wheel.
So do I.
What bike? Oh, the bike that I want. Hold on. I can tell you the bike I want. Hold on. I got to find it. I think it's a Harley HDCX. Hold on. I'll find it. I found a bike I really like.
Well, everybody in Florida already has a heated steering wheel, so park it outside.
I love my heated steering wheel. Hold on. Where is this daggone motorcycle? I'm going to find it. Here it is. Let me see if I can read the tag. It's a Harley FX BR Breakout.
A lot of muscle cars in the chat, man. Everyone's winning a muscle car.
I used to love like the 68 Camaros.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was my thing. Like when I was
SS. Yep.
My mom had a Z28 when I was a kid. So the 69 Z28.
Yep.
Let's see. That would be fun too, a Sprinter van. Miss Val whoa. Oh, go ahead. Rod's like looking through all the cars. He's
we'll go. We got a job to do here.
Val wants to know, is anyone else getting price shamed by eBay? I get messages and emails about how my prices are 29% above others in certain categories or items. One thing they shame sold at full price.
I don't get those notifications.
Yeah,
I just ignore them. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't get those I haven't gotten that notification on eBay. Now, like usually on the regular, like almost every day, I get the notification from Mercari says, people are interested in your item. Drop your price now. But that's about as close as I get to that.
Yeah, I've gotten things where they're saying that your item is, this is what it's selling for, stuff like that. But I don't listen to any of that stuff. So if I did get them, I just ignore it.
It's not picking up exactly your item. It's like it may be a general kind of item like yours. So all those ranges and all they give you, it's not exactly just the specific item that you have. So you got to keep that in mind too.
Yeah, I might get them, but they probably go to my spam because I deleted them so many times, would be my guess.
I got a question for tonight, Kat. So as you guys know, there's a lot of people in chat like to know when I get ridiculed on my videos for something. So my last video I did, I was at the Browns flea market, and I walked up the table and someone put eBay. They printed off the eBay pricing, right, and put it on an item there. And I said in my video, it's a turnoff when people use eBay listed pricing. So here's my problem. I have an issue with this. I'm okay. So people, first, I didn't clarify this in my video, but I'm okay with people can price items any way they want, right? But do you find it okay for people to turn off and use eBay listed pricing at a garage sale or a flea market and put it on their items? The reason why I have a problem with it is because if you're a new buyer, you're walking up and they're not using SOCOMs, they're using listed pricing. It gives a false sense of what the value of what an item could potentially be. Now, it is the buyer's responsibility to do their research and do that. But do you think that's okay, or do you have an issue with that? I want to ask the chat here because I'm very intrigued with this. because I got ripped in my comments for this one.
Yeah, and we can answer.
Yeah.
Marsha, what say you?
Yeah, I definitely don't like it. If it was sold, it wouldn't be a big of a problem because they're selling what the actual market value is if it's a recent comp, obviously. But yeah, the listed price doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a bit of a douchebag, but sometimes I'll actually say, maybe you should sell it on eBay.
I've done that. I've done that at a garage sale.
I just think, I mean, it creates a false sense of price, I feel like, or false sense of value of an item, because you can list your item for whatever you want. Doesn't mean it's actually sold. But Kat, what is your opinion on that?
So I liked what you said when you talked in Vegas, and I think that's a great opportunity for a teaching moment. And I will show them how to look up, like, okay, here's what it's listed for, but look, here's what it actually sold for. And if it was an offer, then you still don't know how much it really sold for. And like, I've educated the thrift store on that, the manager, and been like, look, and I've used that. I've used eBay prices to my advantage, because I'll say, look, you have $20 on this. It's only listed for $15 on eBay. But then I take it a step further and say, you know, a lot of people don't realize eBay fees are about 20%. You know, you have to photograph the item, you have to list the item, you have to ship the item. And I think a lot of people don't realize the work that comes with selling online. You know, it's not just you sell it online, you know, and it just isn't, you know, a lot of people just don't realize. They think they know, but they don't know. So I think it's a really great opportunity for education.
And also, too, you remember, too, if I sell something on eBay, like, I'm guaranteed a refund policy through eBay, and I have that thing. When I go to buy in person, you don't have that. So there is an advantage to buy it. So if you're going to have items the same price as there, I can just go online and buy it, because I know if it's an electronic item or something like that, I have the insurance, you know, back in my pocket if that's going to happen or anything. But I was just curious on that, man.
Yeah, we're in the process of trying to make a big buy, or working out the details of maybe a big buy for a bunch of Starbucks stuff, cups, bears, the whole deal, all brand new stuff. And so we've kind of had to go through that process today, or my wife has, rather. She actually went over and looked at the stuff, you know, to explain, because they're looking at what something sells for. You know, they got 150 of this very special bear. They have 150 of them brand new. And it's like, you know, it sold for this much, but like 2 of those sold last year. And so it's like, you have to do a little bit of education. Like, you got 150 of these and 2 of them are sold at that price. And those are the only 2 comps. So yeah, you're going to have to, that don't work. So,
yeah. Silver Hair Stacker says, what is better, selling stuff you like or grinding on boring stuff?
That's a good question. That's a real good question.
$1 million question.
Great question.
Well, what's better is which one's going to sell better. You may like what's the stuff that's actually selling, or you might be bored with the stuff that's selling, but your goal is to sell it. So,
yeah,
I guess, you know, yeah, it's a lot nicer to sell stuff you like, because it's more fun that way. But you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah. This question came from Todd, who's a gentleman and a scholar. I see you in the chat there, Todd. My thing is, I think this is probably one of those questions that, you know, I think my take would be no one size fits all. There are so many different personality types in people who sell, and people who sell for different reasons. If your ultimate goal is just cold hard cash and to make money in the bottom line, then you should do like Tekken Sports and just go kill it like that, right? Personally, like, for me to do that, I've never really been all about money. That's not, I enjoy money and the fruits of work and all that, but it's never been my main driving force. So like, the thought of going and doing what Tekken does seems like it just suck the spirit right out of my body, right? So I think it can be, depending on your personality type, it can be both and or either or. Really, it's just dependent on the individual. That's my take on it. I prefer to sell stuff I like, but I'm also not afraid to do the boring grind part of it at times too. So
Well, it also matters if are you a hobby seller or doing this as a business too.
yeah.
You know, the reasons you're doing it.
Yeah, it's all about the reasons. Yeah.
I think probably 90% of people get into reselling stuff on eBay originally because it's stuff that they like, because they're either selling stuff that they have in their personal collection, stuff that they like, or they're buying to pay for something else. So, and I agree with Marsha made a good point. It depends if you're doing this part-time, you're doing it for a hobby, or if you're doing it full-time. If you're doing full-time, you're going to buy items that are going to suck the list, that are going to be big, bulky. They're going to be, you're going to hate the ship because it's part of your job, part of your business. As someone who does it part-time or someone who does it as a hobby, you're going to pick and choose what you do because you already have the other income coming in. So I think it really comes down to the individual. For me, I'm going to sell stuff that I like, but I am also going to sell boring stuff that I can learn. So for me, it's not about selling stuff I like or selling boring stuff. For me, it's the learning process. It's what's fun for me is finding something new. It could be boring as hell, but it makes me money, and knowing that I made that accomplishment. So for me, it's the journey. It doesn't matter if I like it or if I find it boring. For me, what's the fun part is the journey, making money, or knowing that I was right, or knowing that, hey, you know what? Now this is going to be a learning experience for me. So that's the part that I enjoy more than anything. So that's actually the fun part for me. All this extra stuff around it is going to be added bonus. I will sell stuff that I like because I do collect stuff. So if I buy a big lot, I'll take a couple items I want. Those items are free, and the rest of stuff is going to be sold off. I'll also buy boring items because it makes me money and it keeps a roof over my head, and I can continue to do what I do. So that's fun for me if I can continue to do this the rest of my life.
Yeah, I think it's a combination. If you're doing it for a living, and it's not boring if I'm making a lot of money. It's just not.
Right.
No matter what the heck it is. Like, I don't friggin' like license plates, but I bought 1,200 of them because I got them for under $2 a piece, and I made thousands of dollars on them.
But you also
Now I think they're even cooler because I know which ones are worth a lot of money.
Because you learned a lot.
Yeah.
Hit the nail on the head right there. Yep.
Yeah, but I still buy stuff I like that I know will take a long time. And I try to make sure to make a point, at least in videos and on here, to let you guys know, because it's not unlimited, but it's pretty I have a lot of space, and I know that most people don't have that luxury. So I have room to be able to do that. I actually have a whole nother shed I could start putting stuff in, which I do not want to, and I have no intention of doing, but I have it. If I found like an incredible buy, I have an empty 12 by 30 shed that I could use for inventory at my disposal. And they actually, the girls cleared out in here, and this is a 14 by 40. This is a really big space that is essentially empty. So, I mean, I could go buy out like a whole house if that opportunity presented itself. I'm not looking for that by any means, but I have the space to do it. I wouldn't have to rent storage. So I will pick up like the vintage linens that a lot of times they take 6 months or a year or sometimes longer. I will pick up my Southwest stuff that I love. That same thing. It's going to take a while to find the right buyer. And I think, though, you have to find that median between what you like, what you can find. Like somebody saying they found a glassy baby. Well, yeah, we'd all love to find glassy babies all day long and sell them for hundreds, but you can't. That's why they sell for hundreds, because you don't find them that often. So, I mean, you have to find that happy place with what you can find, what you can tolerate, and what's selling. Like I would sell, like, and we've been selling a lot of shoes. You see a ton of purses behind me. I've never carried a purse in my life. I am not a purse person, but I will sell them because people like them and people will buy them. So, I mean, again, the money makes almost anything appealing to sell to me because money is appealing.
Yeah.
I think one thing my dad would say is just learn how to like the boring stuff.
I'll put it this way. Have you ever worked a job where you made good money, but you had to pull up a lot of BS at that job?
Yeah, I quit.
Well,
Yeah.
for a while you did it because you made good money there. You know what I mean? You
Right.
can tolerate a lot of stuff when you're getting paid. Money isn't everything, but when you're getting paid decent money, you can tolerate a lot more stuff than getting paid $10 an hour. Then you're like, I can go find something else to do for $10 an hour. But when you make good money on something, you can tolerate a lot more stuff. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah. And I mean, that's where that line, like when I got so miserable, I didn't want to go to work, I quit. So realistically, or not realistically, however you want to say it, you should not let yourself get to that point in a reselling business. If you're miserable, if you're not happy with what you're doing, you have the power to change it. And that's what I love about reselling. And I mean, nursing's the same way, there's so many nursing jobs and so many fields that really, I probably could have found one that I liked. I wanted to be home though. So I can buy a ton of jewelry, a ton of whatever. I got bored with, I love jewelry, but I got bored with it because it was all I was doing for months. And I'm like, forget this. I'm over jewelry. I'm going to do something else. And that's typically me. I'll learn a lot about one type of item. I'll buy a ton, I'll sell a ton, and then I move on. And I will buy it if I come across it, but I don't search for it anymore.
Kat, I got a question for you because I was thinking about this today because me and you both were on the same path where we had a full-time job, we made good money, and then we literally were building our business to replace our income to be able to just move and quit our job and go forward. But when you ended up going full-time, did you end up realizing that even though I had a good paying job because I did medical sales and I did medical contracts, I worked in the medical industry for many, many years, where I was making very good money, and then I was doing reselling pretty much as a full-time job as well, and I was making really good money in reselling. But when I quit that good job, I didn't realize how much money I was using for my reselling business to have fun with or do other good things with. So did you run into that problem too when you quit? Did you be like, oh man, yes, I'm replacing my income, but I'm actually not really replacing my income. I need to double down.
You used it already. Yeah.
Use a lot of other things. I didn't realize.
And I think a lot of people don't realize if you really run it as a business, especially like me, where you get employees, the expenses that come along with that are no joke. Like my workman's comp insurance, payroll, paying taxes for employees. It is very, very expensive. It's scary. It's especially when sales are down, it's not just you depending on you anymore. It's other people. So me, once I've grown it, it's, it's more of a weight. I still really like it, but it becomes a little less fun when it turns way more business-like, if that makes sense.
But it's a little more responsibility.
It is. But the cool thing is about reselling is, and what we do, if you work a 9-to-5 job, you have a set income. So if you have your pet gets sick, family member gets sick, you have a car breaks down, you can't just be like, hey, I'm going to work extra time. Maybe your job will offer overtime or something else. You have to find a side hustle or find something else to pay for that. Yeah. With our job is, you know what? Me and Kat went to Vegas. We were doing other stuff. Maybe she takes off a week or two. You'd be like, you know what? I need to make more money this month. You look here, all you have to ask yourself, how can I make more money this month? Okay, I need to do more listing. I need to do this. There's ways that you can increase your income at any point in time with what you do. That's the best thing about what we do with reselling.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for me, a lot of times it's just looking more and researching more and finding higher dollar things. I'm watching one that's ending Sunday that's a sold comp that would sell fast for $6,000.
Wow.
And I'm not going to say where it's at. I will tell you it's a 14-hour drive from me. And if I do win it, I will drive it. I'm not going to let them ship a $6,000 item, even though it's a very simple to ship item. And I'm not going to say what it is either because people could find it. And I don't want anybody. People have already found it. It's already at $700 or $800. I'm not going to get it cheap. I'm hoping to get it for $3,000 is what I'm hoping, but I might not. So yeah, for me, it's looking for those higher dollar, faster sales items. All right. Squirrely Reseller said, hi, Kat and Rod. Nice to meet y'all in Vegas. At Boss, I learned that WorthPoint has an app and uses photos to look up Do you all think this is the best option? And she said hers is a 57 red T-Bird or a 65 Shelby. So Marsha, do you think WorthPoint for researching is the best option?
I don't have WorthPoint. I've never used it.
Yeah, I don't have WorthPoint either, but I do have friends in a Discord that do, and they help us out when we need it.
So for me, I do have WorthPoint. I do use it a lot, but my go-to always is going to be eBay the last 90 days, unless it's a unique item or something that I know may have a different value or something that doesn't sell very often. Then WorthPoint's going to be my best option to kind of look things up. I don't use a photo. I search it first. I do actually do a Google search, image search first, because I want to search beyond WorthPoint. And if I use a Google image search, it will pull up the image on WorthPoint for me. So I just click on it, and it goes right in my app, and I can go through. So for me, I prefer using Google Image because I might find it on multiple websites that's listed. So I can find listed pricing and also find sold comps by doing that.
Yeah. I think it like, for me, it definitely is worth it. I'm bidding on stuff right now. I used WorthPoint to comp them, especially the online estate sales. I don't use WorthPoint a ton when I'm out because I rarely find those one-off rare items when I'm out. But when I'm bidding on online estate auctions, I use WorthPoint repeatedly every single day. And it is more than worth it. Marsha, do you have my WorthPoint link? I have a WorthPoint link.
Mark just dropped it.
Oh, thank you, Mark. Mark just got here. At least he's working. Oh, let me give her. Oh, let's do the whale. Let's do the whale. Here we go. All right. I saw 2 more super chats, I think. Silver Hair Stacker said best sell ever. Why is he saying Dolphin floor mat to Brad?
He sold me a Miami Dolphins floor mat. You can actually see it over there. And this jerk said he peed on it before he sent it. Love you, Todd.
Hopefully paid extra for that, because I know people in Vegas will. So.
Oh, wow.
Oh my gosh.
All right. It's great.
All right, I got to give him I'm giving you the original one because it's a dolphin. Super chat. All right. Where'd Marks go? Somewhere. Where'd you go? He made it. Oh, 9:10. He was a minute early. See, he's always late. So then he's early when he's not early. He's late. All right. Mark always gets Rod. So here's Rod.
Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Until next time.
I didn't do it.
Don't you do it.
I didn't do it.
Don't you do it.
I want to do it.
He wants to steal my gimmick every time.
Sarah sells smalls by the seashore wants to know, is anybody else's eBay super quiet?
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that.
Okay. So I will say, I know I'm hearing a lot of people say that the eBay is super quiet. For us, the one thing I have noticed is that it's more of a roller coaster than normal, maybe, but it's averaging out to be pretty much the same for us. So, but let me clarify that by saying that with what we sell Playmobil, we have a ton of repeat customers. And so a huge part of our sales are actually repeat customers over and over and over. So that I think it kind of cheats the system a little bit trying to answer this question on our behalf. So
I've got a general question for you. Why Playmobil? Like, do you just come across it? You just double down on that? Like, what was your...
All right. So on the 127, a couple years back, we came across a flea market type vendor, one of the vendors, and they had a large, like 2 of the monster totes Playmobil, like the big, like, I don't know what you call those, 109 quart totes. And we pulled the trigger on it, bought it. It was like $200. And over the course of figuring out how to sell that, whether to sell it, like some of it was vintage stuff that parts out really well. So we parted some of it out. Some of it we put together sets. But over the course of doing that, it sold really well. And then so we figured out that even when we find it, if it's stuff that parts out well, we can buy it. So we started when we'd see, but and then the other thing that happened is we started seeing we started noticing on Facebook that people will put up really huge lots of it, right? So we can get one of the first drives I made was down from Tennessee down to Grand Bay, Alabama, which is on the coast. And we made a big buy of a bunch of vintage Playmobil. It's kind of like Lego in the sense that people who played with Playmobil as children now also are sharing it with their children. So it's one of those things. It's like it's kind of cross-generational, and I'd imagine it's going to be the same when those children get older. And so it's kind of got that job security that if you deal with Lego that it has. And we've just learned how to sell it, and it's easy from doing that. We know what to look for, why we're looking for it. There's so many answers. That's kind of the shortest answer I give you.
It's very unique. I was just curious on that. Answer Sarah's question. eBay has been super quiet for me, but that's my fault because I haven't listed anything in about 3 weeks because I was on Vegas and I had family visit for 2 weeks. So that's my fault. So don't take what I have to say on that.
Oh, and can I jump back in there just for a second? The other thing, Rod, that is exactly what I said. We get a ton of repeat customers. That was the thing that we noticed as we was listing it, was that we were getting a ton of repeat customers, just from the stuff we were listing out of one batch of stuff, one big batch. And so we started buying more and came to realize that's not a glitch. That's actually a feature of the selling Playmobil. And so it's just been a really good thing for us, and it's not super crowded. I mean, field.
Yeah, so for me, we actually are up 20% over last month, and I sold almost $1,000 on eBay yesterday. It's still way, way below. We're only at 10,500 for the month. Normally, I stick between 15 and 20,000 a month, so I'm way below my average, but it is doing a little better. But I'm gonna agree with Rob. I feel like a lot of that's my fault. I haven't been listing as much as I should. I listed I listed 40 either yesterday or the day before, and then I have $1,000 day, and so I mean it's starting to pick back up. Mercari actually had a few sales today, which I was glad to see because we haven't had much on Mercari lately. And then on my what sold video, I show that's coming out tomorrow. I showed eBay, Etsy, Poshmark, Mercari, and Bonanza. So, I mean, we are getting the sales. I think a lot of it's just finding the stuff that people are wanting right now. That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Valerie in the chat too. It's the end of tax time, so returns are starting to flow in now too. So.
Yeah. All right. Marcella wants to know, what questions should you ask accountants to see if they would be a good fit for reselling?
I guess one question was just ask if they do returns for e-commerce sellers and see if they know what you're talking about, because I have actually run into a couple that had no idea what that word meant. So if they don't know what e-commerce means, then yeah, they're probably not a good fit. But that's one question I would ask.
Yeah. I think you should ask them, what kind of things should you be looking for, for tax breaks and whatever not, and what you do as a reseller, and then just listen. You can find out a lot about people by the kinds of questions they ask you back. And if they stumble around and don't have much to say, like Marsha said about the e-commerce question, they're probably not the best fit. But if they begin to ask you questions about what you do, and they have a willingness to learn and look for ways they can help you specifically, that's probably a pretty good accountant.
Yeah.
Ask them if they work with resellers, work with retail businesses. If, ask them questions about your inventory, ask them about doing cash deals, ask them about doing non-cash deals. These are questions you have to ask. I ask them, what type of accountant they, what do they specialize in? These are questions that you want to ask. Hey, this is my business. What I would do is, here's a good question for you. And I've done this to accountants before. I say, hey, if I bring my tax return from last year, would you guys take a look at it and see if I left money on the table? That's a huge one, because that goes for any type of if you did your taxes yourself, or if you use a different accountant, if you want to switch accountants, if you ask an accountant, like, hey, this is what my return was last year. Did I leave money on the table? Could you help me make more money? And if the answer is yes, then that's a good step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think everybody kind of covered it. My accountant, I kind of trained. He thought he knew reselling until he met me. So, I mean, there's different levels too. Like, are you selling on one platform? Are you selling on multiple platforms? And what are you wanting them to do? Like mine, I pay monthly. He does monthly bookkeeping and accounting. He pays my quarterly taxes for me. He signs into all of my online platforms and pulls reports. So, I mean, I would just ask them, A, if they're familiar with it, and B, keep in mind what you're doing. Because I mean, they can learn. Mine learned. It was a little bit of a rough road the first year. I'm not gonna lie. Him figuring it out. But if you want somebody local, you might not be able to find somebody that knows it. I know, and I don't even remember the questions. Mark too, Not Your Dad's CPA, in his course, he tells you like what questions to ask accountants, but I don't remember what they are.
Also, too, don't go to like H&R Block or one of these like corporate.
No,
like,
you don't want to go to one of the cookie cutters.
Yeah, please don't do a cookie cutter. Find like a mom and pop shop or someone that handles a lot of other small businesses and go there, or ask people that a good starting place is ask someone that you know that may have a business, and ask them who they use for accountant if they have a small business or something like that. And that would be probably a first step to go through there. That's what I did. My accountant died. And so I literally had to find a new accountant and had to go through the process. And first thing I did was I asked my friends who own businesses who they use and recommendations on that. And that's how I found my new accountant, which I love now. So, yeah.
All right. Manhattan Mom wants to know, do you have a favorite packing tape brand that's cost effective? I've had terrible luck with it coming unstuck on my packages.
I will swear by the American Bubble Boy packing tape.
Yes, I'm gonna cut in
awesome.
and agree with that. Mark, do you have the link? I have a 5%. You can get 5% off every order with the Nurse Flipper code on American Bubble Boy tape. If you do not know that, it works every single time. There's no limit to it. That's what we used to.
That tape is just the best tape I've ever used.
So my first run with American Bubble Boy tape was great. And then I got a batch that was not great. Got another batch because the first batch was so good. It didn't work out so good for me. I let Joel know, hey, I got to do something different. Let me know when you get something back. So in the meantime, I switched back to what I had been using for 3-inch tape. I use SureMax. For 2-inch tape or 2 1/4, whatever it is. I use a brand called Prinko. They're not as thick. They don't feel as quality as the American Bubble Boy, but they stick really well, and that's what's most important to me. And Joel did send me a message, let me know that they had new tape, and so when it comes time to repurchase, I will be trying it again. And if it doesn't work, I'm gonna throw the box at Joel.
I will say American Bubble Boy is a great company, and they do great things in the reselling community, and I would highly recommend them. I've used them multiple times the last couple of years. Now I've actually used a place in the Tampa Bay area that's local for me, so that it's convenient. They can drop off boxes tape within the same day. So I won't provide that information out there because it's not anything that's going to help 99% of the people that are watching this podcast. But I would say Joel, you can order from pretty much anywhere in the country and get it within the next day or two and get it to you. But so use Kat's link if you guys can.
Yeah, and he has different levels now. I don't know, Brad, if you tried, like he has like 3 different like thicknesses, I think. I've just stuck with like mine. I use like the cheaper one, but I haven't had any issues, and we go through a lot of tape.
I think the first batch I got was way more yellow in color, and then like the second batch and the third batch I got were like more clear. It's like
Mine's clear. I don't think I've had any with like yellow tinge.
That scent, I know that scent kind of bothers people, but I just want it to stick. I don't care what it smells like. And
right.
Yeah, I will try it again though, simply because Joel at American Bubble Boy is top notch. I've had some questions even when I've gotten stuff from Amazon years ago from him, and he's been great to work with. And he also sent me a coupon, so I'll be trying it out.
All right. Charmaine wants to know, is there a site to find local church sales?
I would say probably all the sites we mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think the best site out there is Facebook, at least in our area. In our area, it's kind of rural. People here aren't using apps. They don't know what a TikTok is or anything like that. But every stinking person, whether they're 30 to 90, they're on Facebook, and that's where you find where yard sales are located. Specifically, church sales are typically located in our area. I guess you could go with the classified ads too. There's probably somebody still posting them there, but I hadn't picked up a paper in years.
So you can actually look at newspapers online as well. You can look at the classified ads online for a newspaper. A lot of people don't know that. For me, when I find my church sales, it's the same way I find my garage sales. They advertise. They advertise on Facebook. They advertise on Craigslist. They advertise on the Facebook, on those apps that I went over earlier. They're going to post signs up in their community in front of the churches. So it's just something that I would say write down, keep a list of churches and like big communities or townwide sales that you go to the same time of year, because they traditionally do them the same time every single year. So it's something that you can keep on the list. Like for me, I have a list that I go to that I know that this certain time of year that I'm going to go to. Last weekend, it's a yard sale that I go to every single year, and I made friends with the people, and I got over 200 pieces of clothing at one sale. And we're talking about vintage, NASCAR, Harley stuff, because I know every single year it's the same time. So it's on my calendar to go back. So
yeah, I did that with one I really loved in Ocala. They had it like every April and November, so I just put it in my phone to check. And I wanna second what Susan's saying. Not just you could Google church thrift stores. That's like my last few videos on my cat's treasure hunting. Those were all church thrift stores, and I found some amazing stuff. Most of the time they're only open for like 4 or 5 hours on Friday and Saturday. So it can be a little bit harder to get there, but you can easily Google church thrift stores in your area. And I wish somebody would create one. You could call the churches in your area and ask them, because I feel like here most of them do it at least like once a year, and most of the time it's going to be the same time. They would know it's every August or it's every November, and make yourself a list. Then maybe you could make a book and sell your list. Honestly, no, for real. Desiree made a thrift store guide for Las Vegas that she sells. Why could you not?
It works good if you live by a big city.
Time and work into it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. Because people, I mean, for her it's good because a lot of people travel to Las Vegas, so that's a good area for her to do that. But yeah, I think any resource I would pay if someone made for the Tampa Bay area, I would pay for it because it's a curated list. It makes my life easier, and it makes my do things a lot faster. So why not?
All right. Sarah gifted 5 memberships, and I haven't got to play this. And I do want to say, with today being the first, there's a lot going on. Tomorrow night, I'm actually doing live sourcing. I switched that over to Wednesdays because Saturdays and Sundays have been hectic. And then next Thursday is listing reviews. Monday is going to be live shipping. So the beginning of the month always kind of gives you the most bang for your buck as far as membership. So I don't know who got those 5, but now's a good time. And I just put out the membership calendar last night. So that is on the tab where everybody can see it, and the membership tab for you guys. So if you don't know about it, check it out. And here is my turtle. No. All right. Michael Lynn sent a $5 super chat and said, no question tonight, just a hello and thank you for all the free value.
We need a kitty cat.
Okay, we can do the kitty cat. Here's the kitty cat.
I like that one. It's so cool.
Meow, 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 meow. That was because we had so many kitty cats on forever.
Yep.
All right. Richard wants to know more about AI tools available for resellers. So if you know of any, tell him. And in the chat.
ChatGPT. The good one, we talked to that one earlier.
Yeah.
This perfectly has a built-in.
Perfectly has the AI express lister
AI,
now.
Yeah.
Pretty much any app you use now has got AI with it, but Photo
Room's AI.
Photo Room, Google Lens.
Google Lens is AI in it.
Yeah.
So a lot of things that people don't know there's actually AI.
Yeah, that they don't realize. All right. For those of you who do estate sales, do you try to go the first day and get there when the doors open? I saw pics of items for sale and I'm going for specific things.
I have sworn off going on the first day anymore unless it's in the afternoon. It's around here where I'm at, it's crazy. The first day, people line up 2 hours ahead of time, and they only let so many people in. It's not worth it for me. But let me tell you, even on the second and third day, I will find stuff. And I don't fight crowds well, so I just let them do the elbowing, and I go later.
Yeah. So it really depends on the picks. If I see something in the picks that I really, really want to get, then yeah, I will get there the first day, try to be as early as I can. Also, one of the things I'll do is if it's close enough, if it's not like something I'm going to have to drive a great distance to, we'll, when we go out to ship or something, we'll check in the second day and the third day when the prices start to drop. And a lot of times you can see stuff you forgot. You can find some good prices and stuff. So yeah.
So I've done both. I've gone to a estate sale hours before it opened and waited in line and got in there right away because there's a lot of specific items that were in there that I wanted. I've also gone the last day because I wanted to go and just try to see, things will be discounted. But I would say the biggest thing that people don't understand is you have to understand the estate company and how they run it. So if you know ahead of time how that estate company does their sales, how they do their pricing, it's going to make your decision very easy if you should get there first thing in the morning or get there a couple hours early or wait till later on and it's not worth your time. So I would say, yeah. So in each area, you may only have, some areas only have 3-4 estate companies, or some may have 15 or 20. I keep a list of estate companies and if they're good or bad. And I would say there's only a handful that I would go to on a normal basis because I know that they're going to do what's right by the buyer and they have good deals because they want to move stuff. Where there's some estate companies where even if they show really good items, I know that they're going to be at eBay or higher pricing. So unless I'm going there to buy for myself, I know I won't be able to go there on day one to get items to resell. So it's not even worth me going.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Rod and Brad. If I see stuff that I really want, I'm going to go. Yep. And that's only been a couple of times. Like one was a jewelry one where I racked up on sterling silver jewelry. The lady was a sterling silver jewelry seller and I was like, I'm getting there. But other than that, I'll go in the afternoon. I'll go on the last day because I like the discounts and you can always find something. I'm on the email list for a couple of them. Yep. I don't overly go to estate sales or yard sales because I'm like on the weekends, we go out on the boat every Sunday now. So Sundays are taken. Saturdays, we're normally doing something too. Sometimes we'll do flea markets, but yeah, so Fridays would be when I would go to estate sales, which typically here in Florida, a lot of times they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They don't do Sundays. So yeah, because of that, keeping that in mind, then I would go on a Thursday because that's just the easier day for me to go. But it would take a lot for me to want to go back on a Saturday to get half off. Like I would have to want a lot of things that I would think would still be there in order to go back.
A good person to watch is Dom, the primetime treasure hunter. He literally made a living going to estate companies. But if you watch his videos consistently, he hasn't put a lot of estate ones out now because a lot of estate companies that he used to go to shut down. But he would say like there's only a handful to go to because he knew the estate companies, so he would get there early. He would get there, make a point to get to these certain ones because he knew right away walking into how the price was going to be and that it was worth his time. Because remember, time is money. So that he set the example, or a good person to watch to kind of find out how to work with estate companies.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a good guy too.
Yeah, I love Dom. He's been busy. He got a job as a president and doesn't have a ton of time, unfortunately. So maybe in a couple of years we'll have him on again. He's super busy. Donna wants to know, why don't I ever hear any of you talk about OfferUp? When I lived in Florida, I could sell so much, including dead flowers.
Yeah, it is kind of popular down here, but I don't use it. But I'm sure there are people. I know a friend of mine does it, and she sells a lot of furniture and stuff on it. And I'm in Florida.
You're muted, buddy.
Brad.
You're muted.
Thank you. Yeah, I had to cough. Forgot. Thanks. Here in southern Middle Tennessee, really nobody's using OfferUp, so there's no point.
So I think Donna's right. Like OfferUp used to be amazing, and that's when Let Go and OfferUp were separate companies, and when they combined, that's where I saw a kind of a downfall into getting a lot more deals on there. So I would say I used to use OfferUp all the time. I used to find a lot of local deals and stuff like that. But over the years, I find it more and more competitive, and it just wasn't as good as it once was. So just more competition, probably step in there. Same thing with Facebook Marketplace. Like Facebook Marketplace used to be absolutely amazing in the very beginning, but more and more people got in there, a lot more competition.
Yeah, so I would say Florida's a really big state, and where I'm at, it's not used. I would have to drive really far, so that's why I don't use it. And people wouldn't drive this far to me as well.
I do.
I put this up. Marsha will.
I drove 3 hours one time to pick stuff up from you.
But that was a lot of stuff, and you knew
it was.
I just wanted us to comment on this. I know my thought on it. Kat Jones said she gets, can you send an offer on these? And it's stuff she listed 2 hours earlier. So what do you say to that?
So I'm assuming she got the eligible to send an offer.
No, I think people are messaging. Oh, maybe it is the offer thing popping up.
Okay, if that's the case and you just listed it 2 hours, I give it more than 2 hours before I start sending offers. I usually give it 24 to 48, and then I only do 10% that early.
Yeah, so for us, my philosophy is I'm of the opinion that if I would take an offer on it 2 weeks from now, I'm just going to go ahead and take that offer now and probably move it if I'm going to take an offer. As far as sending offers go, part of Vendu is you can auto send offers. You can tell it if you want it to, not do anything newly listed. You want it to wait for 24 hours or 48 hours or whatever before it starts sending offers. But I think ours is set to pretty much start sending offers right away. Because if somebody's looking at it and they're interested in it right then, and I can get it going, I'll do it.
So I talked to you guys earlier. I used to do medical sales, and when our team would get leads in, they wanted you to reach out to them within the first 5 to 10 minutes, because every minute that goes by, every hour goes by, it's an opportunity. If you ever look at statistics, the statistics of someone buying drops tremendously over time. So by waiting 24 or 48 hours, waiting a week to send an offer, that person may have already found another item, found something cheaper. That person may have, maybe it was an impulse buy. They would have bought that moment, but now they thought about it a day later, like, I really don't need that. I'm not going to buy that. How many times have you done that? So for me, if people like those items, I'm going to send it immediately. And I would rather take 90% of the value today than 100% of nothing tomorrow, or 80% the value today to 100% tomorrow. So for me, it's about getting cash flow in my business. When I go to a yard sale, if people put something out, I'm going to ask to get a discount on the item. So why when people want discount on the items I just list on eBay? It's no different in my book. So I'm going to sell it because I want that cash flow to come back in my business as soon as possible, so I can rinse and repeat, and even take a smaller percentage and moving the items faster. I will make more money in the long run than waiting longer and selling an item for a higher percentage.
That's a good point. I might think about that.
Yeah, so I'm with Rod. I'm happy when I see it. I send the 10%, and I've made some really fast sales, and I want to send it as fast as I can. So I'm happy to see that. That like makes me thrilled because I know, like, you make your money on the buy again, right? You can make $100 in a day and flip it because you gave them 10% off. Then,
Yep.
you know, I'm fine with that.
There's a saying that says pigs get fat, but hogs get slaughtered. So if you try to get every single dollar out of it, you're going to end up biting yourself in the foot. So just move it and keep going.
Yeah, for sure. Miss Linda said on Mercari, do you use their label? I accepted a bundle offer yesterday, went to mail out this morning. Mercari has the incorrect weight. I shipped anyway. I'm waiting for a ding from UPS. I'm going to answer this because I know, because I contacted Mercari about exactly this. So what Mercari does on their bundles is they just put the weight of one item, and Mercari pays the difference for the shipping. You are not going to be dinged. That is just how Mercari is doing it. They're not adding the weights together of the items. They're just doing it of one. You did the correct thing. You still mail it, and Mercari will pay the difference. And I got that directly from Mercari. So
Yeah. Same thing here. I looked that up. I wanted to find that answer, and that's true. And Mercari is willing to pay it because of all the money they made on their other shipping from items.
all right, let's see. Lisa wants to know, is District getting any closer to being Android friendly?
I could take this one if you want. So yes, they are seriously working on it behind the scenes. I can't give you a time frame if it's going to be, you know, a day from now, a month from now. From my understanding, it is going to be before the end of the year that they're going to launch it, and it should be good. That's all I know at this moment. I mean, I do talk and work with some of the guys who work for District, and so that's the information I've been provided, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. My question be, Lisa, why don't you give your life to Jesus and come over to the iPhone?
But this is one thing I will say. We are resellers out there, and you can go to yard sales, garage sales, or look online. You can buy an Apple device, an iPad or an iPhone. It doesn't have to have cellular data on it. All you need to do is connect to the internet. Kat has one right there. Kat's an Android user. If you guys don't know, she uses an iPhone for her business.
I will not use an iPhone for myself.
Yes, but so you can literally go and buy one for like $100. All you have to do is make sure that you can connect to the internet with it. That's all you have to do to use it.
And you just use the Wi-Fi. You just have to make sure it's not
you can download the app. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and there's some that are too old. They won't let you update, so be careful about that too.
Yep.
That would be my only other thing about that. All right. Teresa wants to know, do you like yard sales that have prices or no prices?
Personally, I like no prices because I think it leaves a little bit more open for them to haggle because they haven't set their mind to that they want a certain price on things. But that's just me.
Yeah. I kind of like pricing because it kind of lets me know kind of what the parameters are here at this yard sale, kind of what they're thinking. A lot of times when I ask prices, you get that, well, I don't even know. At least around here, it takes a while to get an answer. I don't know. I'll have to ask my husband, or I have to ask my wife, or I have to look it up. Yeah. So
I would say I see both. I would say I usually get better deals when items aren't priced compared to being priced, because usually when items are priced, they have a general idea, or they have already looked something up, or kind of had a price point in their mind. Now, it is easier for me to figure out if I'm going to leave or stay there. I'm still going to try and negotiate. I'm going to treat the yard sale the same. Just because there's pricing on them, guys, do not just leave and be like, oh, I'm not going to buy anything. The prices are too high. Until you talk to them, until you try to negotiate, until you go through, I can tell you there's people that price things, 200% over eBay pricing, and I get it for 50% what the eBay pricing actually was, just because I had a conversation with the person, we talked to them, or help educate them and go through. So, but I would say I prefer no pricing over pricing.
Yeah, I prefer pricing. I want to see and know if they're ridiculously high or not. With none, it's just so you have no idea. And I mean, once you ask a few things, you do, but yeah, I don't know. I prefer it be priced. All right. Kevin wants to know, how does one get paid when you resell online? Do you have to have a bank account to get money transferred into? Because I've been reselling for a while now. So I'm going to assume he's been selling, has money on these platforms that's sitting there.
Is it on platforms, or is he doing it on his own, like on YouTube and Instagram?
Still be sitting somewhere, though, if he's selling on YouTube or
Yeah,
Instagram.
I mean, eBay, they almost make you have to put a bank account in when you sign up, don't you, to sell?
I think so, to
I
pay
don't
the
think you can
fees.
sell without doing that.
I think he may be a local seller. Maybe he might be reselling locally at flea markets or maybe on cash deals. That's the way I read
online.
that. Not online. Maybe he's looking to move to online. So you would have to have a bank account. You don't have to have a separate bank account for your business. Maybe he's asking if you have to have a separate bank account for your business with that. But no, you can have a regular bank account, your personal bank account. But I would recommend opening a second bank account and have that money go directly in there. It's just a lot better for accounting purposes. You don't have to be an actual LLC business or open a corporation or anything like that to do that.
Yeah, just a second checking account in your own name. I got two.
But
yeah,
I mean, that's the way I read it. I don't know, unless I'm misreading that.
Yeah, I don't think everybody.
That would make more sense.
Yeah,
than what I was automatically thinking.
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Moley wants to know if anyone else is experiencing long delivery delays on Posh lately, going on over a week, and lousy tracking updates. Do you think USPS is falling apart?
Let's not go political into this, but USPS does have issues, yes. And it's not just Posh. Everybody's experiencing delays in certain hubs. You just deal with it. I mean, if there's an issue, you just let your customer know, hey, say, I'll be looking into it. Let me check with my post office. I'm going to put an alert on the tracking and just keep them updated every few days and just kind of keep them. Because I had stuff that I had a $150 nutcracker that took 3.5 weeks to get from here to Tennessee. It was like, but I kept her informed and I kept checking, and it slowly got there, and she was happy as a lark. So, there's nothing you can do about it, honestly. Once it's in the post office, it's in the delivery. So just keep your customer up to date and, just keep it very professional and take care of them.
Yeah. So I've had trouble getting stuff as well as getting stuff to people. It's just, for whatever reason, that's par for the course right now. I would say exactly what Marsha said. Just over communicate to your buyer, as much as you can. Do your part. Do what you can. If you've got a package that's stuck with the USPS, go to USPS.com. Look the package up, through tracking, and sign up for all updates on it. If you'll do that. The one thing that I found is if there's one that's kind of held up a little bit, it may have been sitting for several days. And I don't know if it's just coincidence every single time, but every time I do that, it seems like the next morning or so, it starts moving again.
Yeah.
So do that, communicate that back to your customer and let them know, and just over communicate to them and thank them for their patience, and that you appreciate, their patience.
Also, too, I mean, he made a great point. Communication is key. Over communicate is the best thing. I also send them screenshots of the tracking where it's at, so they know that. I will tell you a big problem that I get on like eBay and all these other platforms is the buyers sometimes don't know how to check the tracking. So if you can explain to them, hey, here's a picture of the tracking, this is where it's at, it's stuck in this hub. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to file a claim on the website. Now, also too, if it's early and it's doing that, you can only file a claim after 7 days for them to start. 7 days or 10 days?
10 days.
Yeah. So you explain to your buyer, hey, I can't file a missing claim or missing package after 10 days, but here's the tracking. So here's a picture of the tracking, so you see where it's at. I will file this. It was shipped this day. I can file it at this day. So let's just wait, wait and see. Also, too, if you go to the USPS website, if there's any delays for weather or any other delays that they have, they will put updates on their website. And what I do is I actually do a screenshot of that and send it to my buyers. Companies like eBay are really good to notify their buyers and sellers, let them know that they're going to allow delays for packages based on weather and other issues that may happen. And they will notify, and you will get a grace period before any claims or anything can be filed against you on eBay. But I would just say communication is key, and make sure that you know how to use those tools to your benefit.
Yeah, so I've been getting quite a few notifications about delays and shipment on Posh. I'm wondering if it's everywhere, but the other platforms don't notify us. Posh just tells us when it's late, so I bet it's happening on eBay. And for me, with as many sales as we get on eBay, I don't go look at the tracking to see if it arrived. The only time I look is if somebody messages me and tells me it's not there. So it might be happening everywhere, just that Poshmark's notifying us. But I have been getting quite a few, your shipment is delayed, blah, 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 on Poshmark. I've been getting quite a bit.
Yeah.
All right. Debbie wants to know, if you have items you would normally mark down to move them out, would you not mark it down if it was coming into season? So if it was a Christmas item or an Easter item, you've had it a long time, are you going to still mark it down if you're coming into that season, or are you going to leave it be if you mark those items down?
I think I might leave it.
Mm-hmm.
I might do another comp and just see where it is if it's been sitting that long, and see if it's still where you priced it at, because it might have gone up. Who knows?
Yeah, I think a lot of times going into seasonal things, some people probably up their prices. I tend to just leave them where they're at, and I definitely don't think I would mark them down. Personally, I wouldn't.
So seasonal items sell all year round on eBay, especially Halloween and Christmas are the two biggest. But I will say, for the items I have listed in my store for X amount of time, for a long time that haven't sold yet, and I'm coming into season, I'm going to end and sell similar at the beginning of that season, because it puts a fresh listing, puts it right at the top, and I can adjust anything I need to adjust, the reason why it hasn't sold yet. And those things usually sell super fast for me then. But
you're probably not marking it down though, right?
I would adjust it based on what needs to be adjusted at that moment. If it needs to be marked down, I will mark it down. If sometimes I won't mark them down, and I'll just end and sell similar and keep it at the price it was, maybe just the title or a picture or something like that, recrop the picture down, whatever I need to make it a better listing, and then put it up there, and it usually sells pretty fast.
I don't mark anything down anyways. I just send higher offers, so I don't do it. Zach wants to know, do you think eBay will adjust estimated delivery times with the USPS delivery slowdown that they're planning for April and July?
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
I hadn't heard about that.
They're supposed to have a slowdown?
Yeah, I hadn't heard about that, but in 25 years of doing eBay,
your guess is as good as mine.
sometimes they do that, but I wouldn't count on anything. So
if the United States Postal Service, so in the past, they actually changed the priority mail for time. It used to be 2 to 3 days, and they adjusted to 3 to 4 days now, or 3 to 5 days. They have adjusted times on their shipments in the past. And when they do that, eBay follows suit and will adjust the estimated time of arrival on their listings based on what the Postal Service standards are at this time. So if the Postal Service does any type of slowdown in the future, and they do anything that they change the say times of priority mail, media mail, ground advantage, anything along those lines, eBay will follow suit like they have in the past and adjust it for their automatic calculated listings.
Yeah, I think so too.
One of the things that I would say is we don't have a ton of delivery issues, but I think one of the things that helps us is we ship really quick. We ship every day. I know that not everybody can do that or wants to do that, but I like to get it into the system as fast as freaking possible to get it moving and get it going where it's going. So we don't really have a lot of delay issues as far as expectations with customers. So
Yeah. What is your price point for paying shipping insurance?
Well, you automatically get $100. And anything over that, I don't know. I don't really sell a whole lot of expensive stuff, but I've sold a couple $100 things, but I didn't pay for extra shipping insurance. I just took my chances and everything made it. Oh, I don't have a price point.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, it's more dependent upon the item, really. If it's something that's more fickle, like electronics and stuff sometimes can be, I might do it. But I think the lowest I've ever done it at was probably around $350 maybe. So I have a pretty high tolerance for risk when it comes to that stuff. So
I think it also determines how much you've got into it too.
that too.
I mean, if you pay $10 for the item, you're only losing $10. You're not losing a $200 item that you sold.
But it don't feel like that, Marsha.
I know it don't feel like that. But
Well, I would say, so I actually use both what you guys said. So what I do when I do mine, it depends on the item. If the item's going to be super fragile, something like that, I may put insurance on something at a lower price point compared to a higher price point. But if my buy cost is super cheap and I'm not going to pay for an item, if I'm okay, put it this way, if I get a minimum of $100 for this item, I'm only going to put insurance on it if I'm okay if I want more than $100 for this item. So if I have to pay extra money for insurance, it's because I'm not okay taking $100 for that item. So if I buy that item for 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks and I sell for $200-$300, I'm like, I would have took $100 for it minimum and flipped my money. I'm not going to pay for extra insurance at that point in time. But if it's something super fragile and I know that there's a good chance it may, like for example, if I ship anything Disney, when it comes to like statues, figurines, they put them in the styrofoam boxes. And no matter how good you ship your items, unfortunately, they will sometimes break in shipping. So those I will add extra insurance on. But usually it's going to be a couple $100 before I do that based on the item.
Yeah, so for me, I typically will pay if it goes over the $100, and I'm not paying because I'm worried it's going to get broke. I'm paying because if it gets lost, they're going to pay me exactly what I sold it for. And typically it's pretty low, just a few dollars. So I pay for it above $100 because it's like if it's 200, it's probably like $3 or something. And if they lose it, then they're returning the $200 plus the postage. You do get the $100 free, but I put it on any of them over 100. All right, we've got 2 questions left. Let's see if we can grab them real quick. Michael Cutler says, quick question for anyone who sells DVDs and CDs. Is it better to sell them for a higher price with free shipping or price lower with shipping?
I don't know. I do it calculated on all mine, so.
Yeah, I know that free shipping got pushed for a long time, but honestly, I think I don't really think it makes that much of a difference in my experience. So I probably price it what it sells for and do calculated shipping.
There is no such thing as free shipping. The buyer pays it or the seller pays it, one or the other. So there is no price. So what you're probably looking at when you compare to other CD sellers and DVD sellers on eBay, there is some massive sellers on there that have free shipping on all their items because they have a discounted rate through the postal service to ship items at a lower shipping percentage than you. So don't compare yourself to these big stores that do that. Those stores also depend on people buying more than one. They're buying in bulk. So that's why they have the free shipping on there. So for me, when I sell a lot of media, I'm shipping media mail. It's usually, if it's under £1, I'm going to ship Ground Advantage. It's actually cheaper to ship Ground Advantage than media mail when it's under £1. If it's over £1, I'm going to ship through media mail. But the buyer always pays shipping for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm buyer pays shipping too. That's just my policy. I mean, that's something where you know the weight though, so you could calculate it into your price pretty easy. If you wanted to do free shipping, they charge the same fees on shipping either way. I would look at the majority of what they are selling as, but the problem is that if they return it because they didn't like it and you did free shipping, you can't keep your shipping. So that's another kind of downfall to doing free shipping.
True.
All right, last question. JP wants to know if any of us ever take items to an actual auction house.
I used to when I used to work as an auctioneer, but I haven't taken anything in years. So
Yeah.
they take
Hey,
too long.
Janet. Hey, Janet. How you doing? I don't. Scott Beardy Picker, who's been on Cat's show before, I know he does that quite a bit, so that might be a resource of somebody you could maybe check into, watch. You might have some info on that.
So I've done 2 different auction houses. I've done one with my local auction house. They take high fees, anywhere from 25 to 40% is usually average for a local auction house if you're dropping stuff off. If you're looking at one of the higher end auction houses like Golden Auction House, Heritage Auction House, Sotheby's, you can actually negotiate your rate. I just signed a contract with Golden Auction House actually on Friday. I'm shipping. I did a major pick, and I'm shipping a bunch of items to them. And they're waiving all selling fees, and they're giving me 5% in the buyer premium. So they're actually paying me 105% what the item sells for. So you can actually negotiate your thing with a major auction house if you have a high dollar item, but a local auction house is going to charge you a very high fee. So I would make sure you just know your local market before you take it there.
Yeah, and I don't really.
Kat buys from all the auction houses.
I buy all of your stuff you bring
Yes.
to the auction houses, but I don't bring stuff there. I've thought about it, but no. Because I know what I buy it for, so I don't want to sell my stuff for that. All right, I'm gonna let Marsha and Brad tell you guys what they have going on, and then Rod and myself, and then I will let you guys know who will be on with us next week. And yeah, so here's Marsha.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on again. Great to be here and see everybody. I guess the big thing is I'm working on 2 more videos for my YouTube channel, so please go over there and subscribe. I need a lot of watchtowers, so if you guys just put me on mute and let them run, that'd be great. And those will be coming up hopefully in the next week or so. So watch out for those, and we'll be back next week in the chat.
All right, here is Brad.
Yeah. Thanks, Kat and crew, for having me on. I'm on a show on Thursday nights with a guy by the name of Buck Mountain Barnes called Picking and Grinning. You can go check that out at Buck Mountain Barnes channel. They're starting a new show next Tuesday called Reseller Therapy. I think Marsha's got a link to it. I'll probably be pretty regular on there. And after, since watching reseller content since 2016, I have some incoming pretty soon, I promise. And so I'm going to start dropping stuff there. And if you're on District, district.net, I have a district there called Playmobil. If you're interested in little figures and little toys called Playmobil, stop by and check it out.
Perfect. Rod, what's going on?
So I'm having a big reselling week on District myself on the Dibbit platform. We are launching grand opening tomorrow of Dibbit cards. We're doing a raid train from 2 o'clock in the afternoon to 11 o'clock at night. And we're doing tons of giveaways every single hour. Me, Tim Over the Years, Carrie, American Arbitrage, Commonwealth Picker. There's a bunch of us that will be on there selling tomorrow. And then on Thursday, April 3rd, we are doing the biggest raid train we have ever done on any Dibbit platform. It's going to be on Dibbit Threads. We're starting at 9 a.m. and we have people going to midnight. And we are co-hosting with people. We have 25 plus sellers on there. And you're going to get tons of vintage. You're going to get a ton of hats, Harley, biker stuff, everything you can think of, you can potentially get. NASCAR, brand new items, women, female purses, tons of stuff. So guys, if you have nothing to do, if you thought about reselling or thought about live reselling on one of those platforms, come and check it out and come hang out with us. We're tons of free giveaways. I'm giving away a ton of stuff. And then I'll be dropping my pick and punching video tomorrow, and finally dropping a flipping and punching video tomorrow. So back in that grind, and I am back on track now since my dad left, and I'm back from Vegas, so it's time to get serious again.
All right, so next week, super excited. We're going to have Mike Metco on and Mary McQueen. So neither one of them have been on. That will be a really fun show next week. I have a What Sold coming out for you guys tomorrow, and I'm going to try and get another Cat's Treasure Hunting out. I got one out last week if you missed that. It had been 3 weeks since I got one, so I'm like, Rod, I kind of need to get back on the train here. And yeah, so thank you all for coming. We could not do this without you. Marsha, Brad, thank you. And Rod, thank you for keeping coming. We appreciate you guys. Everybody's links are down in the description in case you're watching us back. We appreciate you guys, and we'll see you next week. Bye, guys.